Good morning students. Let's start with chapter agriculture. In this video I am going to explain you about two important beverage crop. Beverage means that is used for drinking purposes such as tea and coffee. In this video I am going to explain you about geographical conditions, method of cultivation and areas of production of these two beverage as well as two important cash crops. Let's start with tea. Tea is an important beverage crop. It is important cash crop also. India is the largest producer of tea in the world. As we know, there are three types of tea, that is green tea, black tea and oolong tea. And which one is the best quality tea? That is black tea, and black tea is widely used in India. Next is geographical requirement. Tea plant can grow in temperature ranging between 20 degree to 35 degrees Celsius, and the ideal temperature for tea crop is 25 degree Celsius. Next is rainfall. 150 centimeter to 250 centimeter rainfall is ideal for tea. Light loamy soil is good for the tea. The soil should be rich in humus and iron content. Humus, that is dead remain of plant and animal. And we know humus increases the fertility of the soil. Next, method of cultivation. The very first method is sowing. Now, in sowing, the first one is transplantation. Transplantation means first the seeds are sown in nursery, and when seeds are turned into seedlings, then it is transplanted into main agriculture field. The only objective is to protect the seedlings from direct climatic conditions, excessive sun rays or pre-monsoon shower. Next is clonal planting. Now what is clonal planting? In this, seeds are not used. Cuttings are taken from tea plant known for its special quality and flavor called the mother plant, and then grown so as to produce tea shrubs. The tea bushes are planted in rows about a meter apart, and we used to leave a gap between two rows. Why we used to leave a gap? So that we can grow shady trees in between the two rows. And what is the objective to grow the shady trees in between the rows? To protect the crops from the direct sun rays. And this process is called the shelter belt. So growing of shady trees between two rows in which we grow the tea, only to protect the tea bushes or tea plant from the direct sun rays. Next is pruning. Now pruning means that is trimming of tea bushes. So it is required to trim or to cut the tea bushes at particular height. So pruning of the plant is an essential part of the tea cultivation. What is the objective of pruning? Pruning encourages the growth of new shoots with softer leaves. If we will do more and more trimming, and if we will cut more and more tea bushes, so it will trim out on a regular basis, soft leaves will come. That will be good for making the tea to keep the plant. And the next objective of trimming the tea bushes to keep the plant about 1 to 1.2 meter high at convenient height, so that the leaves can be easily plucked. So basically what we used to do, we used to pluck the tea leaves. We never used to cut the plant, we used to pluck the tea leaves. And for plucking the tea leaves from the tea bushes, it is required to make this plant at a convenient height. Next is harvesting. Tea shrubs take 3 to 5 years to mature, after which they produce shoots known as flush. flush consists of 2 tender leaves and a bud. Next, processing. Now after plucking the tea leaves, the next part is processing, in which we convert the tea leaves into final tea. Now what is the first part of processing? Withering. Now in this withering step, what we used to do, first we used to pluck the tea leaves and we used to spread the tea leaves on a mat or particular rack on which we used to spread the tea leaves. The only objective to reduce the moisture, so that when the tea leaves come in the contact of sun rays or a hot air, then the extra moisture of the leaves will be removed. Next is rolling. Rolling is the next step of processing, in which the leaves are twisted between 2 fingers. We used to twist the tea leaves between 2 fingers to break the cell. And what is the objective? To twist the leaves so that the cells present in the leaves will break down and the extra juice and whatever the juice present inside the cell, that will be removed. Fermentation is the next process, and the objective of fermentation is to change the color of the leaves to a copper red. The next is drying. Under this process or under these steps, leaves are spread on conveyor belt, and this conveyor belt is kept in oven. So we used to keep this conveyor belt in oven and at particular temperature 70 to 75 degrees Celsius, so that the leaves will become totally dry and the color of the leaves will turn into black color. Next is sorting. Sorting means sort selection. So after the previous process we have discussed in this, after drying, when the color of the leaves will be converted into black color, then the leaves will be selected according to the size. Blending. Blending means mixture. As I have told you, there are 3 types of tea: green tea, black tea and oolong tea. So to maintain the flavor and to make the good flavor of tea, we used to mix different types of tea together, only to make the better taste of the tea. So blending is required. Importance of tea. As we know, tea is important plantation crop, or we can say it is important cash crop. When we used to sell in the foreign market, we earn foreign revenue and increases the economy of the country. Tea is a labor intensive work. So lots of labor is required, as we have discussed that there are different steps are involved in processing, like drying, fermentation, sorting, blending. Different steps are required in this for this particular crop. So it is a labor intensive work. So in this case we can say plantation of tea that need lots of labor, so it provide employment to the number of the people and the economic condition of people will be improved. Areas of production. Assam is the largest producer of tea. Next important beverage crop is coffee. There are 3 types of coffee: Arabica, that is the superior quality and expensive also. Robusta, it's a cheaper. Liberica, it is used to make instant coffee. Next is geographical requirement. Temperature. Basically we used to grow coffee in highland areas. Now the temperature required for this crop 14 to 26 degrees Celsius, that is the ideal temperature. Bright sunshine and warm weather are necessary for harvesting, and preparation of berries. Frost, or we can say cool condition, is harmful for the growth of coffee. 125 centimeter to 250 centimeter rainfall is good for the growth of coffee berries. Stagnant water, as I have told you in the previous slide, that we used to grow coffee on highland, means we used to grow coffee on the slopes of the hilly area. Why we used to grow the crops, coffee, on hilly areas, on the slopes of the hilly areas? Because the water will not be stagnant on the slopes, as stagnant water is harmful for the crops. Porous soil with high humus content is ideal for coffee crop. In India, two types of soil is ideal for coffee: red soil and laterite soil. Shade, as we have discussed in tea crop, that shade is required, or we can say shady trees are required for the coffee bushes, and we know that shady trees such as banana, silver oak, jackfruit, these shady trees protect the coffee bushes from direct sunlight. So what we used to do first, we used to make rows, and we used to leave a gap between two rows of coffee plant, and in between the rows we used to grow the shady trees, so that the shady tree provides shade to the coffee bushes to protect the coffee bushes from the direct sun rays. And what are these shady trees? Banana, silver oak, jackfruit. Method of cultivation. The first one is transplantation method, first sowing, and the first one is transplantation method. So first we used to sow the seeds in the nursery bed, and after 9 to 12 months, when the seeds turn into tiny plant, or we can say seedlings, then we used to transplant or transfer in the main agriculture field. Harvesting. The shrubs continue to yield fruit for 30 to 50 years. So we can collect the berries from coffee bushes for 30 to 50 years. We'll get the coffee berries. Only red berries are picked. So at what height this shrub grow? 4.3 to 6 meter, and after a period of time it is required to prune these. Pruning is required for these coffee plant. Now, as we have done under the heading of tea, why pruning is required? First, pruning means trimming. Why pruning is required? So that the new soft leaves or better berries will come, and to make the coffee plants at a convenient height, so that it will be easy to pluck the berries. And berries are plucked by hand. Processing, sorting and roasting. Now, processing. After plucking the berries, the next stage is processing. There are two ways under the processing: wet or parchment method, dry or native method. Parchment means that is the outer skin. There are two ways. After plucking the berries, after picking the berries, the first method is that we used to dip the berries. First we remove the skin, and first we remove the outer part of the berries, and what we will get from inside, we will get beans, and we will dip beans in water so that the outer layer will become softer and it will be easy to remove. Next, dry or native method. After removing the outer part of the berries, we will get beans, and we will spread the beans on floor in under direct sun rays. So when the beans get direct exposure of sun rays, then the outer layer will become soft and the layer will be easily removed. So these are the two steps of processing. After the beans have been obtained, they are sorted according to size. Then selection is required. And on what basis we used to select? Size and quality. And then we used to roast the beans. Karnataka is the largest producer. Thank you, students.